Welcome to page 2 of the Heartfelt Wholecloth quilt. I'm Christina Whitney, a studio educator with Handi Quilter. Today we're going to add the second layer around our medallion, and it's going to be involving the double heart ruler. So our next step is to use the wiggle wave template, and we are going to make the petals inside of our hexagon. So I went ahead and put my needle down in this top corner, and I'm going to do a petal over to this side. So we're going to use the large side of our wiggle wave. I'm just going to bump that up against the hopping foot, and I'm going to use my center line and make sure that it's lined up with this center point, and that I have 1/4 of an inch from my ending point to the edge of the ruler so that I have room for my hopping foot to get in there. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch around there. And here's a little tip. If you're not right on the point, you can actually shift the ruler just a little bit as you're going to get right to where you want it to be. Okay, so now I'm going to go from this point down to this point here. So I'm going to shift the ruler again, lining up with the center, 1/4 of an inch away. And I'm going to come in slow there. Okay, now from here, I'm going to go up to this point. So my design ended up a little bit different than Kelly's. I ended up with almost a star shape by the time I finished with this section rather than the petals. So choose what you want to do and which ruler works best for you. Okay, we're moving on to the heart template. We're going to use the large size first. I've got my needle already down in the corner of my hexagon, and then the top point is lined up on my line that I have extended out. So we're going to stitch along there. I'm going to pause at that point and take the template off. Oh, flip it around. Line up my ending point down here. Okay, while I am there, I'm going to go ahead and do the small one inside as well. Same thing, lining it up. Sometimes ruler work requires some contortionist skills. So work on your hand placement and find what is comfortable for you. What works for one person might not be the best for you. So just play around with them and see where you like to have your hands so that you have the most control over your rulers. Rather than tying off and snipping your threads here, another option would be to use a straight edge ruler and just follow along the outside of your hexagon to the next corner and just continue on with your hearts. And then you never have to break your thread. So you might notice that my hearts are overlapping a little bit in places. That is fine. If you don't want yours to overlap, just go ahead and adjust the ruler as you're going around. You'll need to just take it a little bit slower though. So here's a little tip with using the double heart template. When you get into the points, the top and the bottom, sometimes the foot likes to stick a little bit and the ruler wants to just stay with your foot. So hold the ruler solid and don't let it hop around and you should be fine. Okay, we're going to continue with that same heart pattern going around all 6 corners of that hexagon. Okay, notice that I finally caught on here and I am using the side of the ruler as I travel right there across the hexagon to get to the next side. Okay, we've finished doing our double heart going all the way around. Now we're going to go back and add a third heart on top of the existing hearts. I'm just putting my point for the bottom of the heart into the crease of the large heart that was already stitched. So after I stitched this out, I noticed that I kind of messed up and didn't follow the instructions properly. I made my small heart here have the same bottom point as the large heart rather than centering it up inside the larger heart, which ended up saving me time because I wasn't having to snip my threads as much. Another way that you can save time if you want to is to go ahead and start here, do your one side of the large heart, then switch and do the side of the small heart above, the other side, switch back to the large, finish off that large heart, and then do the small inside heart. And that way you're only having to clip your threads one time for that whole section. So that would save you some time. We finished page 2. It's so exciting. Join me next time as we move on to page 3 and we introduce the HQ half carat diamond template.